Hello, good morning, guys. Today I want to be doing a simple top-down analysis on EURUSD. I'm going to make it as quick as possible so I don't take less than 5 minutes doing this analysis. So first of all, on the daily time frame, or this is on the 4 hours time frame, but on the daily time frame, we have a bullish breakout structure. We are in an uptrend and we made a higher high breaking the structure here. So this set the foundation of our range from this higher low here, this demand that led to this breakout structure. So this shows me that we are bullish, right? So this is our range low, our range high. So this is our dealing range, this whole push from here to the upside. So now that we have our range high, then we mark out the demand zone that led to the breakout structure. But on the 4 hours time frame, we have a bearish trend that's pushing price to the downside in this internal structure. We have low, lower high, lower low. So right now, for we to consider that we are now bullish, we have to break this structure right here, this high, because this is the last lower high that made this lower low. But for now, we can be looking for sales until this trend shifts and break to the upside. So that's only then we can consider this now bullish and we follow the bullish structure on the higher time frame. But for now, this lower high that made this lower low that break the structure is my dealing range on the 4 hours time frame. And one thing to note again, this from here, this lower high that made this lower low that broke the structure, everything inside here is internal structure. But let's read on this internal structure right now. As we made the lower low, we made a pullback back into supply zone. Now, this is the decisional supply. Reason is because this is the last pullback that broke the structure. We came into this supply all well and good, and we switched trend and we started coming bearish. All this time, we are expecting to make a new lower low as per the bearish structure on the 4 hours time frame. But the problem now becomes price came to this demand zone right here. This was a weak demand at that point because it didn't lead to a break of structure. It was just a lower low because we came to respect this supply zone here. So price came out the way, respect this, and when it switched trend, because we had an internal trend here, internal lower high, internal lower low. Once we broke the structure, we started a new internal bullish structure. Now this has now shown me that this is a weak supply. The reason it's a weak supply because it didn't lead to a break of structure. It actually came to respect the demand, but this doesn't mean that we are now bullish and continue bullish to the upside. We have to break this range high here before we consider this a bullish trend. But for now, let's read on this internal bullish structure that we have. This is the internal structure. We have internal higher high, internal higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Now, this is the last higher low that made this higher high. This is our new dealing range from this high here and this low here. The reason why this is our dealing range is because we grab liquidity here. We made the last pullback that made this higher high. So I'll forget everything and focus more on this dealing range, this higher low that made this higher high. Now, as you can see, we also hit this weak supply here because it didn't lead to a full break of structure, as I just explained. As you can see, price didn't break structure to the downside. You actually respect this demand. Now, this demand, as for yesterday, it was a weak demand. The reason I call it a weak demand, you can see we have liquidity resting below all these equal lows, and also we have a valid demand zone with imbalance below here. And thirdly, price didn't break structure from there. You can see price actually broke structure, and this is a liquidity for me. But price didn't come, price respected. And let's go down to the 1 hour time frame and let's see how price respects, because this actually tricked me yesterday into taking a loss. Now, what did price do? Price actually came to create liquidity. You can see it has a build up, a liquidity grab, a break of structure, simply inviting buyers, but there was no liquidity, there was no imbalance here. So at the end of the day, price swept liquidity, used these early buyers. So in the end, price respected this demand. Price didn't have liquidity, but it created liquidity and starts a new bullish trend because we now broke structure. Now we have a demand zone right here that led to the breakup structure. But right now, we are now mitigating this point of interest. This, sorry, not a point of interest, this supply zone here. Now, this is not a supply. I actually called it liquidity because it didn't lead to a breakup structure, and I'll be expecting price to take it out. So for now, am I going to wait for price to come all the way back down to this demand zone before looking for buys, or come down to this demand zone before looking for buys? So there are two ways that we can go for this, because price is up here now, and for price to come back down here, that means this supply zone has now have a break of structure. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going to the lower time frame and see if I can have a continuation trade from up here, from somewhere here. But for now, let's bring out this indicator that I'm going to be using to look for a continuation trade, because price is up here now. Are you going to wait all the way for price to come back down into this demand zone? So for that, I'm going to be using this as my tool for indication. So first of all, the thing what I'm going to be looking for is kind of a trap. If I'm going to be continuing from somewhere here to continue the bullish trend all the way to find a new higher high, clearing all this liquidity, I'm going to be looking for a trap and a continuation trade. So first of all, I have this point of interest here because it swept liquidity and led to a bullish push out. So this could be valid somehow, but we need to wait for confirmation and key time window. So I'm going to be waiting for the London session to reach before I knew if I can buy from here. But secondly, the other thing I want price to do is create some kind of a trap around here. What I mean by a trap is give us some kind of a break of structure to the downside to invite sellers who are seeing supply zone and price creating supply zone and breaking structure. I want to see how price will invite those sellers by inviting them with a bearish trend. Then I wait for my key time window and see if I can see a confirmation to look for buys countering that bearish trend and looking forward to make a new higher high. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for this session. If I see it, then I'm going to be trading a continuation trade rather than waiting for price to come all the way back down into this demand, which we don't even know if it's going to be valid at that point because we still have a valid demand zone below. So the other analysis, if I'm not going to be buying, is price should just shoot up, clearing all this liquidity. That is, if I'm going to be looking for sales, clearing all this liquidity, all that supply zone, and come into the extreme supply and continue bearish. Now, let me just quickly take you back to the 4 hours time frame. And let me show you why I'm going to be waiting for that, because this whole zone here didn't lead to a break of structure. You can see it came down, respected demand, started a bullish structure. It also came here again, respected demand, led to a bullish push out. So we are going to be expecting a continuation trade. You're not going to expect that this supply is going to give enough reaction to come back down into this demand. So if price could sweep all this zone into the upside, coming into a point of interest, or just sweeping it around here, this whole supply, then I might see a reversal trade to counter all this bullish trend and maybe find in a pullback trade back all the way down into this demand or this demand right here. So that would be all my analysis, and I actually took more than 5 minutes for this. Well, thanks for watching. That will be all.